again, this is going to be our last class, but I encourage you to go back through all the videos that we recordings that we did and learn your mechanics, because in everything we're discussing, we're talking about mechanics. A lot of these things I have not discussed with some of the officials I'm working with, because it's just so much to know. It takes literally 2 years for you to get comfortable knowing, getting in that spot. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started discussing the kicking game. Let's look at some definitions of the kick. All right. So there's 3 different kicks. The first kick we're going to talk about is the drop kick. All right. This is a legal kick where the player drops the ball and kick it when it touches the ground or after it bounces off the ground. All right. You don't really see it that much, but it is out there. You can score this way. It's not a punt. A punt is drop. We'll look at it again. We'll look at the definition in a minute. This is a drop kick where it hits the ground and you kick it as it comes up or as it hit the ground at the same time. All right. It may be used on scrimmage kicks, including field goals or tries, a kickoff, a free kick following a safety, or a free kick following a fair catch or awarded fair catch. You can use the drop kick. All right. K may drop kick from in or behind the neutral zone before team possession has changed, obviously. All right. And it's not necessary to be in the scrimmage kick formation to drop kick. All right. What about a place kick? All right. It's a legal kick that's kicked from a fixed position or a kicking tee, what we normally see on kickoffs. The tee is an optional piece of equipment. It can be on the ground. A teammate can hold it. It can't be more than 2 inches off the ground. So if somebody come out with a tee that is more than 2 inches off the ground and raise the ball, it's actually unsportsmanlike conduct. It's a foul. And we can't put nothing on the ground like a towel to help with the footing of the kicker. Let's say if it's wet out there or whatever the case may be. The ball must be held in position on the ground or, again, held by a teammate. All right. It can be used on scrimmage kick, kickoff, free kicks following a safety, or a free kick following an awarded fair catch and fair catch. Some people may say you can't, like if we have a safety, you have to punt it. That's not true. You can also use a tee following a safety from the 20. They can use a tee. They don't have to punt it. Is not required. Right. And then it can be used on a scrimmage down. K may place the kick from in behind the neutral zone before team possession has changed. So again, similar to a drop kick. And it's not necessary to be in a scrimmage kick formation. So you don't have, we'll talk about scrimmage kick formations here in a little bit. You don't have to be in a scrimmage kick formation to kick it. It's just the scrimmage kick formation actually add protection to the snapper. But if you're not in a scrimmage kick formation, the snapper doesn't get that protection of being directly charged into by a nose guard. All right, a punt. A scrimmage kick or a free kick after a safety. So again, you want to kick the ball away. It can be used doing a free kick after a safety. The ball is snapped. It'll be kicked. Punt is a non-scoring kick. So out of the 3 kicks we discussed, a drop kick, place kick, you can score off of those kicks. You just can't score off a punt. The team may punt on any down. So we typically, people always punt on 4th down, but it's really not required. You can punt on 1st, 2nd, or 3rd down, just depending on the situation. So if A is really pinned back on the 1-yard line and they don't really feel that they're going to be able to get it out of there, they can punt on 3rd down and give the ball up. It's really not necessarily you got to wait to 4th down to punt if you want to try to avoid getting the safety. And again, it's a normal lineup. They can run it, and then let's say, and it'll be pretty cool if the offense, or a lot of offense coordinators learn how to use this. Hey, if you're in the end zone and let's say it's a pass play or whatever, and it look like you're going to get a safety, kick it and get a quick kick out of there and get it out of there to avoid the safety. So it might be a cool strategy for some coaches to think about if they're really pent back and don't want to get that safety, uh, have a quick kick option in your playbook. So let's talk about the pop-up kick. So the pop-up kick is an illegal kick, right? This is when they drive the ball into the ground, up over as though it has been kicked directly straight up. Now, in college, it's still legal. However, at the high school and youth level, it is illegal. And let's see if I can share this video. And there should be volume on this. So
This appears to be a pop-up kick in which the ball is driven immediately into the ground. The ball strikes the ground once and goes into the air in the manner of a ball kicked directly off the tee. It is difficult to tell if the ball touched a Team R player during this sequence. If it did,
There ain't no video.
it would not be penalized for a kick out of bounds.
okay.
There is always a lot of action around the ball on an onside kick, so this potential holding likely would not have been observed.
All right. So y'all see the video now. Let me go ahead and replay it, guys. Let's see.
This appears to be a pop-up kick in which the ball is
It's
driven
working now.
immediately into the ground. The ball strikes the ground once and goes into the air in the manner of a ball kicked directly off the tee. It is difficult to tell if the ball touched a Team R player during this sequence. If it did, Team K would not be penalized for a kick out of bounds. There is always a lot of action around the ball on an onside kick, so this potential holding likely would not have been observed.
All right. So, and talking about the pop-up kick, a couple of things. One, it's literally going to be a dead ball foul. It's not a live ball foul. The officials obviously in this video did not call the pop-up kick. It could have been done. The video could have been shot or shown before it became illegal. So, but the head linesman, if you see the ball get driven in the ground, pop up into the air, we want to we want to shut this play down immediately. It is illegal, and it's a 5-yard penalty for a pop-up kick. Now, if you look at the video behind me, if you can see the screen on me, this is what we call a dribble kick, which is legal. It's very low. What defines a pop-up kick is when it goes up high above the player's shoulders, they're looking up. And the reason why the pop-up kick was so effective is the reason we'll talk about how K can eligibly recover the ball. One of the requirements is the ball has to touch the ground and then go 10 yards. So what they used to do is drive the ball directly into the ground, which satisfy it touched the ground, and then K will come and level out the front line to make room to recover the ball because it touched the ground. It went 10 yards. I can actually catch it in the air and be able to keep the ball. But because when the ball is popped in the air, it leaves the receiver as a defenseless player unable to protect themselves, and it was prevent all the serious injuries that have been going on. So a lot of restrictions been put on K over the years to prevent all of those injury potential plays they used to run back in the day. All right. And again, it was a 5-yard dead ball foul, 5-yard penalty. So K, you're gonna blow the head linesman, you're gonna blow the whistle immediately, kill the play, and assess the 5-yard penalty. So let's talk about free kicks. We're gonna look at free kicks and scrimmage kicks. But let's look at let's talk about, before we actually talk about the free kick, we're gonna look at the pre-kick checklist, like the pre-snap checklist, okay? This is the list that we're discussing in regards to what you should be doing, game officials, before the ball is kicked. All right. Again, is we got a lot of work to do, and we're not out there just sitting there waiting for the ball to kick. Like we're going to check in once the ball is kicked. No, we check in immediately when we line up. So let's look at the acronym. The K in kick means know your position and your responsibilities. So we're going to look at 4-man mechanics. If you're doing three crew mechanics, just take the umpire out. The head linesman, the one with the chains, you have the kicking team. All right. So you got to know your responsibilities. One of your responsibilities after a touchdown or at the beginning of a game is to secure possession of the ball, go to the middle of the field, make sure the kicker know not to kick the ball until the referee blows the whistle, make sure that the formation is legal, backwards and east and west and north and south, and we'll look at that here in a little bit. That's your responsibility. You're going to check them in, and then you're going to go back and you're going to straddle the 40-yard line. If you're the line judge, you have the receiving team free kick line. What you're supposed to do is go into the 50 or go into the numbers, make sure the receiving team knows where they're supposed to be, and then go back out and straddle the line at the 50. The umpire, you'll be on the 20, and the referee off the field. Referee, you'll be on the line judge side, somewhat in the side zone. And this is our positions, and this is what you should know. Also, part of your responsibilities is making sure the coaches and players are off the sideline. It's a lot. So you're going to make sure the kicking team is right, and you're going to look left and right, make sure all coaches know to back out the way so you can see the boundary lines. All right. You're going to indicate to the referee that you're ready by raising your arm. So this is something that a lot of new officials don't do, really don't know about. But as you get to your free kick line, as you make sure the lines are clear, as you make sure everybody know where they go, when you go back to your sideline, you want to raise your hand, and the referee going to go around and make sure everybody's hand is raised, and that let them know that you are ready for the kickoff. All right. Now, before you raise your hands, a couple other things you need to do. Again, you want to make sure the individuals and coaches are clear of the sideline, right? We just discussed that. You're going to make sure you look for any infractions on the free kick. Some of those infractions, are they touching the line? Do you have enough players on either side of the kicker? We will never raise our hand unless there are 11 players on either side of the ball. So if there's only 10 out there, we're going to make sure they get 11 before we raise our hands. If there's 12 out there, we're going to make sure that 12th player come off the field before we raise our hand. This is something that is nationally done and is accepted to do, and it's preventive officiating. We don't want to have them kick the ball. There's only 10 on the field or more than 11. So as we look to make sure everything is good to go, then our hand raised up. Now for C, you count your respective teams. So the head linesman and line judge, you count the kicking team. Umpire and referee, you count the receiving team. And that's all you need to count. You don't need to count both sides of the ball. That's not your responsibilities. That's the responsibility of the other officials on the field. So if you are the head linesman, you count K. If you're the line judge, when you come onto the numbers to make sure R knows where they're supposed to be at, you're going to count K as well. If you want to give each other the signal, you may, and then you'll go back to your sideline. But our line judge, you don't count the receiving team, you actually count the kicking team. Something that we don't really do and we don't talk about it much, and the beanbag. You know, many of y'all, when you became officials, you got a flag, you got a beanbag. You might think that a beanbag is only for fumbles. Not true. So one thing you should be doing is pull that beanbag out of your belt and actually have that beanbag in your hand ready to rule on first touching by a K on in between the free kick line. So make sure, head linesman and line judge, that when you raise your hand, you got the beanbag in your hand as well. The other K is know your coverage area and do not ball watch. So if you see the little lines here, it kind of like give you an idea of what's your coverage area. Uh, don't follow the ball. Don't look in the air and try to see what the ball is doing. Balls don't commit fouls. Ball doesn't hold. Ball doesn't block below the waist. Ball doesn't blindside block or block in the back. Players do. So what you need to do is have an idea where the ball is at. But that's if you're a headlines and a line judge, the last thing you should be looking at is where the ball is going. You need to be looking at that initial contact between the players and knowing your area and things of that nature. Also, something that you probably didn't know, on a kickoff on 4-man, head linesman, your responsibility is to run to the center of the field, not down the sideline. I know we don't talk about it much, and I'm sure you do all kind of crazy things. Now, if in a 3-man mechanics, you would not run to the center of the field because there's no umpire on your sideline to assist you. But in a 4-crew mechanics, head linesman, once the ball is kicked, once K crosses your path, you actually come onto the field and you have inside out coverage all the way to K's goal line. So this weekend, when you're out there, let's see if we can put some of these things to practice. So what is a free kick? All right. The free it puts the ball in play at the start of either half. Obviously, we know this. And we after a field goal, after try, after water fair catch, we can go into a free kick. Is also known as a kickoff, and the kickoff may be a drop kick, place kick, or a punt after a safety. So in other words, you can't punt on a free kick in the instance of starting the game or after a try. You can only use the punt kick after a safety. You can't use it anywhere on a kickoff other than after a safety. Again, the free kick line is normally on the 40-yard line unless there's a foul or the referee can move it. Let's say there's a big puddle on the 40-yard line. The referee has the authority to move it either further forward or backwards at the referee's discretion to get out of that puddle. But normally it's the 40 and the receiving team is the 50. And then, obviously on the safety, the kicking line is the 20 and the receiving line is the 30. Then if you have a fair catch or an awarded fair catch, it'll be at that spot. If there is a kick catch and interference with an awarded fair catch, it'll be the yard line to where you're at, what a fair catch was awarded. All right. So again, this is something that I've seen this year where I had officials trying to make sure there was 5 and 5 on either side of the kicker. Now, I think that's just the NFL. It's not even in college. There's had to be a minimum of 4 players on the other side of the kicker when the ball is kicked. So it doesn't, you don't have to have 5 and 5. You just got to make sure that you have 4 and 6 when the ball is actually kicked. So in other words, if a player moves to the other side when the ball is kicked, then it becomes a foul when the ball is kicked because there was a 3 and 7 at the time the ball is kicked. I know I had a video for this and I'm looking. And I did not put where I saw the video at. So we might have skipped that video. But anyways, yeah, so you can't have that. They have to be, when that ball is actually kicked, it needs to be 4 and 6. So who makes that call? If there's only 3 players on one side of the kicker when the ball is kicked, the referee. Because the referee is seeing directly up the line and he can see where that player at when the ball is kicked. All right. Team K may choose the spot. So on a kick, you don't really have to be kicked in the middle of the field. It can be kicked anywhere between the hash marks or on a hash mark. So let's look at one of the free kick infractions. All right. No Team K player other than the kicker may be more than 5 yards behind K's free kick line. When a player is more than 5 yards behind the kicking team free kick line, that player is the only player who may legally kick the ball. And if you look at the diagram, K3, K4, K5, and K6 are illegal. So, which means if the ball is kicked, you're gonna have a dead ball foul for a kick infraction on K because they're more than 5 yards back. Now, again, in college, they can do that. In high school and youth, they cannot. So if you see this picture here, which is one of the games that our officials was officiating on, the kicking team is literally past, they're more than 5 yards behind the kick line, which means this is a foul because they're not in the correct place. All right. So let's look at another video here.
This appears to be a pop-up
wrong
kick
one. Give me a
in which
second.
the ball is driven immediately into the ground. The ball strikes the ground once and goes into the air in the manner of a ball kick.
It is number 1. My apologies.
The back judge started this play too deep and wasn't able to lose the gap when the punt came up short.
Let me see. Oh, play 2. I call myself writing stuff down, but I'm not even looking at what I wrote down. Give me a second. Here we go.
A player cuts in front of the kicker and executes the onside kick. However, only the player who actually kicks the ball may be more than 5 yards behind the free kick line. The play should have been blown dead when the ball was kicked, and Team K penalized 5 yards.
So again, as game officials, I mean, again, there's a lot of work that we should be doing out there and paying attention to. Not talking to people on the sideline, not ghosting out, not blanking out, not sleeping. So, and one of those things is to make sure that whoever kicks that ball is the only player that was more than 5 yards back. So, like I said in the video, the player kicked it, not the kicker, trying to do a trick kick, whatever. But because the kicker was the only one that can kick the ball is the one that's 5 yards back. Let's say the kicker wasn't 5 yards back. Let's say everybody was in the front, like let's say on the video, let's say on this video, this picture here, which is a legal formation, let's say they all was in front of the mark. Then yeah, somebody else could kick the ball because there's no one else behind 5 yards or more behind the free kick line. But because there is someone, that's the only person that can kick the ball. Now, the rule says that a player satisfy this rule when no foot is on or beyond the 5 yard line, the free kick line. So, head linesman, when you go on and give the ball, you want to make sure that all the players are not touching that line, right? This is called preventive officiating. Before you raise your hand and let the referee know you're ready, make sure there's no one touching the line, okay? Hey, get in front of the line, get in the front of the line, can't be past the line, only the kicker can be back there, and then we're good to go. All right, let's talk about onside kicks. Is a kick deliberately kicked short and attempting to get possession of the ball. We know this. Now, on a one of the biggest things you need to watch out for, on an onside kick, is what we call first touching. Now, I think in college and NFL they call this illegal touching. What we call illegal touching is deal with pass plays with ineligible receivers. What we call this is first touching, and we're going to drop a beanbag when it's touched by K before R touches the ball in that 10-yard space. And if you see here, we don't start the clock, and you see here that's the 10 yards, and K hit the ball with his right hand, and so that'll be first touching. So that's why you got the beanbag in your hand, headlinesman. You would drop that beanbag and to continue officiate. So now if R gets possession of the ball and R hasn't fouled, it's almost like a free play for R. So they try to go for the ball and fumble it or whatever the case on that play. If they're not happy with the end result, they can always go back and take first touching. So when can K legally secure possession of a ball in a free kick? Well, obviously, if any R player may recover a ball on a free kick if it's touched by R. So if R moves into the free in that neutral zone and touch the ball before it crosses the expanded line, then K may recover it. So obviously, anytime they touch it. Now, touching in the neutral zone by R is ignored if K blocks R into the ball. So if K blocks R into the ball or anything like that, then that's going to be that touching by R is going to be ignored because he was blocked in it by K, and you may have a foul for illegal blocking by K for blocking R within that space. And then the other thing, the ball must travel 10 yards. So, and it must touch the ground. All right. So these two requirements are necessary. So that's why the pop-up kick was so effective, because it did touch the ground initially. Then once it goes 10 yards, they can catch it in the air without getting kick catching interference. So that's what the biggest thing. So for the three reasons how R can recover, K can recover a free kick, must go 10 yards, it must touch the ground first in any order, or R must touch the ball before it goes 10 yards, and then K may legally recover the ball. And again, let's talk about the blocking restrictions. Team K may not block an opponent until the kick has traveled 10 yards. So, in other words, if R steps into the neutral zone, as long as R is not initiating the block, let's say it's an onside kick, and let's say the ball is still within that neutral zone, and a K player go past the ball and blocks an R player, that's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot for illegal blocking, because K cannot touch R until they're legally able to recover the ball. Again, these rules was created to prevent all the injuries and all the tactics that K was doing. That's why they prevent them from going all the way back. You're talking about K going like all the way back and taking a full steam run ahead and then colliding with an R player who's actually standing still. Obviously, we know who's going to win that battle. So they say, okay, you can't go more than 5 yards back on a kick, and then K, you can't touch R until you can legally recover the ball. So if the ball is still within that 10-yard neutral zone, K cannot initiate block on R until that ball goes 10 yards. All right. K cannot initiate block with opponent until they're eligible to recover the kick, or K initiate block in the neutral zone against K, or initiate the block against K. All right. So we just, again, I just already said that. But again, just know that, look for that. That's what your job is to do when you're on the field. Make sure you're seeing, you're processing, mentally processing what's going on the field. You're not letting that slip by you. Onside kick, K passes the ball, block R. There's a flag for illegal blocking. It's a live ball foul. And then let's say what K can do is literally they can actually, if R is the one that recovers the ball, they can either tack on the 10 yards from the end of where they recover the ball at, or go 10 yards and re-kick the ball. All right, encroachment, another kickoff infraction on K. Remember, there's a lot of infractions, a lot of rules stipulated on K. Team K restraining line is so what this is talking about here is how strict should we be if K crosses the free kick line before the ball is kicked. And so the thing is, like, if it's an onside kick, yes, we want to ding that, we want to kill that as fast as possible. But if it's a deep kick, do we really want to just stop the play if he's a foot or so past the line before the ball is kicked? It's a deep kick. It's really not giving an advantage to K, but on an onside kick, we definitely want to get all of those because that's definitely giving an advantage to K. So if you have an encroachment on an onside kick, we definitely want to kill it, and then use your discretion on encroachment on a kick if it's a deep kick. Now, in college, it's a live ball foul. They just throw the flag and they let it go. But pretty much everything in high school is a dead ball. It's complete opposite. So, like, stepping into the neutral zone is a dead ball foul in high school, unlike college. So crossing the line before the ball is kicked is a dead ball foul. You throw the flag, you shut it down really fast. You lay on that whistle. You keep laying on that whistle until the players stop their advancement and activities. All right, and then it just says whatever your association philosophy is, make sure you find out what it is. And then, like I said before, if it's a deep kick, you can probably let it go and just warn, hey, be careful. You was over the line when the ball was kicked. If it's an onside kick, we definitely want to ding those. And again, stop listening to the coaches. All right. Well, the coach is in my ear. We care less if the coach is in your ear. It's their job to influence you to get the best outcome for them, but you do not have to listen to them. All right. So a kick out of bounds. All right. So obviously on a free kick, it's a foul if the ball goes out of bounds. So what are some of the options that K has? They can accept a 5-yard penalty for the previous spot and re-kick. And honestly, we always try to discourage this option, this choice. There's a lot of injuries come from the kicking game. So we always do our best to try to steer the coach decision away from the re-kick, okay? It'll be 25 yards from the previous spot. That doesn't which is typically the 35-yard line, but that's not always the case, because if they kick from a 25-yard line, the ball will probably be put on the 50 and not, or the 40. It might not go to the 35. So it's always 25 from where it's kicked from, not automatically going to the 35-yard line. In most cases, and then it'd be a 5-yard penalty from the succeeding spot. So let's say the ball go out of bounds on the 40. Well, if it goes out on the 40, why would they want to get it on the 35? But you can actually tack on 5 yards from the 40, and they'll take it on the 45. It's not an automatic re-kick. We don't automatic re-kick because the ball went short or if the ball go out of bounds. Again, there's a choice to either re-kick, put it 25 yards in advance of the kick, or take 5 yards from where the ball went out of bounds, became dead, and tack on 5 yards. And then the ball goes into the hash mark. It doesn't go to the center of the field. Now, let's talk about kick out of bound mechanics. Again, we're all about mechanics. That's what we are. We're officials. We have a job responsibility to know out there, and it's not just going out there smiling and looking cute in a uniform. Now, we're going to sound the whistle. The first thing we're going to do when the ball go out of bounds, we're going to lay on that whistle. Anytime the ball becomes dead, we're going to lay on that whistle, Because what we're really trying to avoid is extra hits and extra antics going on during the play. We're going to give the timeout signal twice and get to the spot, and then determine if R was first touched the ball. Now, in the mechanics manual, in one place it says if the ball go out of bounds untouched by R, drop a beanbag. It says it once out of the different places where it says it in the mechanics manual. So I guess it's something you can or cannot do. It's up to you. You'll drop the beanbag if it go out of bounds by R. But if it go out of bounds untouched by R, we're going to drop the penalty marker on the play. Now, the biggest thing about the penalty marker is that it's not just something we throw out there. It needs to go at the exact spot where the ball goes out of bounds.
The receiver muffs the punt and the kicking team player makes a clear recovery. The beanbag.
Okay. Obviously, that's the wrong one. Let me see. Lesson 3, play 4. Okay.
A free kick out of bounds untouched by the receiving team is a foul. Among the options for the offended team is to take the ball at the yard line where it went out of bounds, or a 5-yard penalty enforced from where it went out of bounds. Although neither of those options is likely to be chosen here, the mechanics call for the flag to be located at the out-of-bounds spot. It is not correct for the covering official to simply throw the flag at a convenient spot close to where the official is standing, nor should the official never move off the spot occupied when the play started.
Okay, so a couple of things in that. Obviously, if you're going to throw the flag, make sure it's at the spot where it goes out of bounds. So, that flag would be at that spot where it went out of bounds. 2, move. Don't just stand there. Move. So if you see the ball about to go out of bounds, you should be running down the field toward the spot to make sure you know exactly when it went out of bounds and actually have the flag at that spot. So the official was probably lazy because they know they're probably not going to take it there anyways. So I'm just going to throw it here. So that way it saved me the opportunity not to go down. So, but mechanic wise, you'll always put the flag at the spot where it went out of bounds, not just throw your flag to anywhere just for GP. All right. How about scrimmage kicks? All right. So one of the things on the scrimmage kick is, and that's crazy because I missed a slide here. Give me a second. All right. So we're talking about definitions. All right. Sorry about that. I'm like, wait a minute. My whole thought is different. All right. If you can see the PowerPoint, give me a thumbs up. White, I can see you. Give me a thumbs up if you can see the PowerPoint. Thank you, sir. All right. So a definition in regards to scrimmage kick is forced touching. That is touching of a free kick by Team R in the neutral zone is ignored if it's again we read this already before, but we're going to just talk about what it's called. It's called forced touching. So if K muffed the ball into R, or K blocks R into the ball, we ignore that touch. Touching of a scrimmage kick is ignored, and on a scrimmage kick, there's also is the same thing as in a free kick. Now I have this picture on here in this video because one of my officials called me and says, "Is this legal? Can they do this?" So you see, they're trying to. I've never seen that before in my entire life, but they try to get they try to force the receiver to touch the ball. And I looked up in the NCAA, and it's the same rule as applies in high school. You can't force R to touch the ball and be able to recover the ball. All right, so R has to touch it either by accident on their own or muff the ball, and then K is able to legally recover it. But K can't make R touch the ball to legally recover it. Now, this force is different. We discussed it before, I believe, on touchdowns, safeties, and touchbacks. But we're going to look at it in regards to kicking, the kicking game, either free kick, well, a scrimmage kick, pretty much, or a free kick as well. Force always refers to the ball going from the field of play to the end zone. If the ball is not doing either, it doesn't matter. The initial force that is from the kick is always in effect. Now, on a scrimmage kick, let's say on a block scrimmage kick, once the ball touched the ground, now we can have new force, but it only applies to K's end zone, not ours. So again, let's say we have a block scrimmage kick, and let's say it was very close to K's end zone. We have a block scrimmage kick, the ball is on the ground. Let's say it's moving, but it's not moving toward the goal line. And let's say R tried to recover the ball, and they push the ball from the field of play into K's end zone. Well, once it goes into K's end zone, if K lands on it, they get a touchback. It won't be a safety because the new force was created by R muffing the ball into K's end zone. And so because they're responsible for it going in the end zone, if K lands on it, it's going to be a touchback. Obviously, if R lands on it, it'll be a touchdown. If it goes out of bounds behind the goal line, it'll be a touchback. So just understand how that works in regards to a muff on a scrimmage kick. Muffing or batting the ball or accidentally touching the ball, it does not constitute a free kick. So just because you blocked it in the air, then it rolls into K's end zone, that is not considered new force. It's just a redirection of the same force. So if K land on it now, it'll be a safety. So the difference between one blocked in the air and then goes into the end zone, or you can block, hit the ground and go in the end zone, as long as it's going to go there by the initial block and it doesn't need any extra energy to go into the end zone, it'll be a safety. Now, force is not a factor into R's end zone. So anytime a ball goes into our end zone, it's a touchback. It doesn't make a difference if I muff it in there or anything, it's always going to be a touchback. All right. So force only really applies, or the new force only applies on the scrimmage kick that is going into K's end zone, not ours. And then a touchback occurs when any free kick or scrimmage kick breaks a non-scoring kick breaks the ours goal line. A field goal attempt that is untouched by K into ours and touch in flight by K player in ours end zone, or any scrimmage kick or free kick dead or in team K possession, including a declared ball, and a new force is muffed into batted into K's end zone that we discussed already, will be a touchback. And a touchback is always taken from a 20-yard line. So what is a scrimmage kick? Let's get to there. Let's look at mechanics again. So the line judge on a scrimmage kick or a punt, you want to go at least You want to position yourself 7 to 10 yards wider and in front of the deepest receiver. Okay. If you notice, the line judge is on the field, and that's okay. That's acceptable, only because you want to make sure that you can see what's going on, have a good angle, but you want to be in front of the receiver, not behind the receiver. Head linesman, you're on the line of scrimmage, and you don't leave off that line of scrimmage until the ball crosses the neutral zone. So if it's a block punt, you're there. If they change it into a run play, you're there. But that's exactly where you want to be at. And guess what? Head linesman and line judge, carry your bean bag, all right, in your hand, even on a scrimmage kick, because if there's first touching by K downfield, we need to have a bean bag on that. And we also have a bean bag when R recovers the ball. So really, the line judge, if you're working line, you should have a minimum of 2 bean bags, one for first touching and one for when the kick ends. Are you going to be on position on the line judge side of the ball? Because the line judge went downfield, you're going to rotate onto that side. Doesn't make a difference what foot the kicker is kicking with. You want to be on the line judge side. And umpire, you're 10 yards, keeping an eye on the view on the ball. And then once the ball is kicked and you see there's no other activities going on the neutral zone, then you'll pivot and go with the play. So a scrimmage kick is any kick in or from behind the neutral zone. It could be a place kick, punt, a drop kick. A punt is used when a team is voluntarily giving up the ball. And again, you can do that on any down. It has to be on 4th down. Traditionally, it can be on 2nd or 3rd down, or even on 1st down. And then with a place kick and drop kick, you can score. Obviously, you can't score with a punt. But if you're going to use a place kick in this fashion on a scrimmage kick, the ball must be controlled on the ground or on a legal tee by a teammate. So let's say the holder got the ball, and let's say as they're putting it down, they're fumbling the ball. The ball is like all over the place. It's not controlled, and the kicker kicks the ball, and it goes through the uprights and over the crossbars. That kick will be illegal. It will not be a scoring kick because the ball wasn't controlled. All right. So it's crazy, but the ball must be controlled before the ball is kicked. So if it's loose, it will not count. Real quick, some scrimmage kick formations. If you're doing youth football, this will not apply to you, obviously. But if you're doing high school, or you might be doing high school in the future, it's good to know. So there's 2 legal scrimmage kick formations. And this also brings protection to the snapper. One player has to be at least 7 yards back. One player 10 yards back from the line of scrimmage, ready to receive the snap, or one player 7 yards back with one knee on the ground, positioned to receive the snap, and then a different player 3 yards back, which is a total of 7 in position to kick the ball. Now, the number exceptions on this is such. Again, if you're doing youth football, it really doesn't apply. If you're doing high school football, this does apply. And then typically the umpire or the referee will get the numbers. It's very difficult for the wing officials to see this. So it's more of a rule that the umpire, and the referee will be looking at. So if it's going to be on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, the only number that can change, because you got to have 5 players on the line, 50 through 79. But on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, only the snapper can be outside that number restriction. And all the other 4 players must be 50 to 79. And if it's on 4th down, all bets are off. It's gonna be any numbers on the field. So 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down has a different rule than 4th down on a scrimmage kick. On a punt or a field goal, whatever the case may be, if it's done in one of these downs, those number exceptions are important. And if they don't have that, we have a foul for illegal formation. So first touching on a scrimmage kick is right. So any touching of a scrimmage kick within the neutral zone or expanded neutral zone by R is ignored. Right? We don't look at that. That's not considered first touching. However, when the ball goes downfield, if K touches the ball, we're going to have first touching, and that's why we got to have a beanbag to drop if K touches it. Okay. So when the ball becomes dead, team R may, if we have first touching, take the ball at the spot of touching. If any spot is there, you may choose what spot of first touch if it's more than one. Take the result of the play following first touching. So let's say, yeah, I have first touching on the 10, but we got to the 50, so I'm going to ignore the first touching. I don't want to take it. First touching is canceled if after R touches the ball and there's a foul by R. First, R can't say, well, I'll take first touching. No, if you have a foul, we're going to mark it off according to the basic spot of that foul. If any foul accepted, we ignore first touching. All right, so the momentum exception, again, on a kick, free kick or scrimmage kick, it's very important to understand the momentum exception so that we're not giving a safety to K because R is down in the end zone. So if team R catches or recovers a scrimmage kick or free kick between the 5-yard line and a goal line, and I caught it, my momentum take me into the end zone. If I'm down in the end zone, the ball will go back to the second yard, five, on the 5, second or third yard, depending on where I recovered the ball before my momentum took me into the end zone. It must be the original momentum that carries the end zone, so I can't catch it on the 2-yard line and then run like back and forth and then go into the end zone. And if I'm down there, that's to be a safety. But if I catch it and as my original momentum takes me into the end zone, then we'll have a touch. It'll go back to the yard line where it was recovered. The ball is declared dead in team possession. Again, this will bring the momentum exception. The ball belongs to R at the spot the kick was recovered. And again, guess what you drop on a momentum exception recovery? You drop the beanbag on that spot. If the penalty for a foul by either team is accepted, the end of the run is the spot where it was caught or recovered. So if I caught it on the 4-yard line and I ran to my end zone and there was a foul by either team, we're going to take it from that spot of recovery and the reference point where you drop your beanbag. If momentum is not involved, the end of the run is the goal line. Okay. So we're almost done. Let's talk about the beanbag again, because I talked about it a little bit, but understand this is an important tool that we have. We just don't have it on it as a decoration or an ornament. It's something we use the beanbag for. So the beanbag is used to mark the spot other than the spot of the foul, which may later be needed as a reference point. It is not necessary to drop the beanbag at the spot of the player intercepting a pass, unlike the spot of a fumble, the spot of no bearing on the penalty enforcement. So we don't drop beanbags on interceptions other than an interception that involves the momentum exception, and then we'll drop a beanbag. So it's true and untrue because if BX intercepts the ball between the goal line and the 5-yard line, and his momentum takes him into the end zone, we're going to drop a ball where he basically intercepted the ball at. The beanbag should not be dropped on a correct spot, or should be dropped on the correct spot, not thrown. However, that's not always practical. And the spot is in the side zone, then only the correct yard line is needed because any penalty enforced will bring the ball back in the situations of the beanbag. So, again, we drop the beanbag on first touching, either on a free kick or a scrimmage kick by K. The end of a scrimmage kick. So, something that a lot of new officials might not know, when the line judge, when you go downfield on that punt, once R picks the ball up and secure possession of the ball, you should be dropping a beanbag at that yard line and then traveling up the field. Yes, that means you're going to go back and get your beanbag after the play is over, but you drop a beanbag because that's the reference point for a PSK foul. All right. So again, if you look at the second line, the back judge, crew of 5, or the line judge, a crew of 4, should use 2 different color beanbags, one to mark the end of the kick and the other to mark first touching if needed. So you should be carrying 2 beanbags if you work in the line judge position in 2 different colors. And again, we just talked about momentum exception. You'll use the beanbag for that as well. All right. So before we leave, I have to talk about stop clock mechanics because again, this is something I don't see officials doing, and we need to correct this. All right. In Rule 357, an official timeout occurs during a dead ball following a change of team possession. All kicks are a change of possession. A free kick is going from K possession to R possession. A scrimmage kick is going from K possession to R possession. And when that's done, we should be stopping the clock. In the mechanics manual, depending if you're looking at 4-man mechanics or 5 or 4 crew mechanics, it says sound the whistle when the ball becomes dead in your area and give the timeout signal. Again, this is something I am not seeing. All right. With some of I work with my officials, I do this. You know, some of them they'll get this right, but then they forget about doing this. All right. Every time at the end of a kick, we all should be stopping the clock. On a scrimmage kick, once the ball is dead, or a free kick, once the ball is dead, we should all be stopping the clock. And again, mechanics is important. And mechanics can keep you out of big games, even the mechanic of stopping the clock. All right, so that's it for me. Let me get everybody off of here.